Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. Inshallah, today we would like to present our assessment about the Musharakah contract. Before we start, I would like to introduce our group members. First, we have Muhammad Zuhair Ikram bin Osman. Second, we have Ahmadul Hadi bin Zambari. Third, we have Arif Safran bin Zainuddin. And the last but not least, we have Hafizul Izwan bin Muhtar.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Ahmad Hadi bin Zamari and we proceed to the definition of Musharakah. Musharakah in term of literal is derived from Arabic language, derived from the word sharaka, which means associate or to approve. Musharakah is a mixture of one property with another so that the two are indistinguishable. While Musharakah in terms of technical is a partnership between two or more parties for a particular venture. Each party contributes to the fund with a profit and risk agreement that is mutually agreed upon. Next, we proceed to the legal evidence. First is from Al-Quran, from Surah Shad verse 21. And most surely, most of the partner act wrongfully towards one another, except those who believe, who wish to reach God while they are alive, and do improving deeds, do the soul's cleansing, and very few are they. And the second legal evidence is hadith, reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has said that I am the third of the partners, as long as any one of them does not betray the other. I will withdraw, move away from them. After that, we proceed to the scholar's view of Musharakah. First scholar is Maliki. According to the Malikiyah scholars, Musharakah is a grant to both partners to organize joint property or capital. This means that each partner gives the other partner permission to manage their property without losing their right to do so. Okay. The next scholar is Shafi'i. According to the Shafi'i scholars, Musharakah is the right of ownership of two or more persons, so that there is no difference between the rights of one party and the other. Okay, the third scholars is Hanbali. According to the Hanbali scholars, Musharakah is a federation of rights or arrangements of property. And the last scholar's view is Hanafi. According to the Hanafi scholars, Musharakah is a transaction between two people associated with capital and profit. Hanafi scholars is the most accurate definition when compared to the other definitions, as it defines the fact of a transaction, which is a transaction. As for the other definitions, they all just explain their purpose and their impact or consequences. Then we proceed to the pillars of the Musharakah. For the first pillar is shareholders or shuraka. A musharakah can be carried out between individuals and between corporate bodies. Every shareholders and partner shall be eligible to represent. These terms shall be mandatory because in carrying on al-musharakah, there is concept of al-wakalah. Each shareholder is a co-owner of the company and is entitled to manage the business of the company on his or her behalf and on behalf of the other shareholders as a representative. So the second pillar is musharakah objects. Musharakah objects are capital, Rasul Mal and labor, Mashru'. For capital, the capital submitted by each partner must be mixed. The separation of capital from each party is not allowed for special interests. For example, one to finance the purchase of a building and the other to finance the purchase of office equipment. And for labor mashru', the participation of the partners in the work is fundamental to the implementation of the musharakah. Although the share of work between one partner and another does not necessarily equal, the partners who are serving more demand for greater profit share. And the third pillars is offer and acceptance, ijab and qabul. Offer and acceptance is the expressions of mutual agreement between the parties of the covenant made orally, in writing, through correspondence, or through modern means of communication. And for the last pillars is profit ratio or RIB. Ratios are required for profit sharing and must be agreed upon by the partners at the beginning of the agreement so that the dispute between the partners can be eliminated. The ratio must be based on the agreement of both parties. Profits must be quantifiable and based on a profit calculation, for example, revenue or profit.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hafizul Izwan bin Mohtar, and now I will explain about the condition of musharakah. Okay, first is the conditions of shareholders and partners. The shareholders and partners must be qualified person to appoint an agent or to be appointed as an agent under the principle of al-wakalah. Each shareholder is considered as a joint owner of the company and has a right to run the business for him and other shareholders when appointed as an agent. Okay, second is al-musharakah is partnership and company-based business can be made between individuals or organizations. Okay, for the next condition is the conditions of capital. The capital must be cash or things that can be valued by money. Okay, next, the capital must be pooled together and are not segregated so that it cannot be identified the owner of actual share. And the amount of share is not determined to be of the same. They must be agreed between each other. Okay, for the third condition is the conditions of project. The project must be lawful according to Islamic law. For example, it must be halal in the terms of Sharia compliance is widely used in current situations. And next, the evaluations for works carried out by the partners is made on individual basis. It means to put it together so that the profit can be divided among them. And the third is the shareholder can designate the work to one of them. Okay, it means that it can be considered as a specified term or conditions of the contract. For the last conditions is the conditions of profit. The ratio of profit sharing between all parties should be determined and mutually agreed. It means of the contract in the form of percentage of profit, not a sum of money or percentage of capital. This is very important to avoid any element of gharar. And then loss sharing, except in the case of deceit or negligence, is according to percentage of shareholding.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zuhair Ikram bin Osman. ID number 2020-966-151. Inshallah, I would like to present to you about the types of musharakah in musharakah contract. In this particular types of musharakah in musharakah contract, it can be categorized into two definition of Islamic fiqh. First, we have shirkah al-milk, which means the joint ownership of two or more persons in the particular property. In this type of shirkah al-milk, it can be categorized into two types, two subtypes. First, we have optional ownership, syarikah ikhtiyar, based on the own option. Second, we have the compulsory ownership, syarikah al-jabal, which means automatically existed. Moving on, for the second types of musyarakah, we have the syarikah al-uqud, which means the partnership affected by the mutual contract or joint commercial enterprise. It consists of, first we have syirkah al-amwal, which means partnership in capital. Second, we have syirkah al-amal, which means partnership in services. Third, we have syirkah al-wujuh, partnership in goodwill. Each of the above three types of syirkah al-akad are further divided into two types. First, we have syirkah al-mufawadah, consists of capital, labor, and profit at par. And second, we have syirkah ul-ainan. Okay, we start with the first main type of the syirkah al-milk, which means a partnership by the joint ownership. First, we have in the syirkah al-milk, we have optional ikhtiyari at the option of the party. As for the example, if two or more persons purchase equipment, it will be owned jointly by both of them, and the relationship between them with regard to that property is called syirkah al-milk ikhtiyari. Here in this particular syirkah, the relationship has come into existence at their own option, as they themselves have opted to purchase the equipment jointly. So which means that there is no others intervention to what they want of to be in this particular musyarakah contract at their own ways and at their own reference and interest. Second, we're moving on to the second subtype of the syirkah al-milk is compulsory, or in other words, syirkah al-jabr, which means compulsory ownership. The joint venture is compulsory or automatically constructed with no initiative or intervention or effort taken by the parties. For example, we can see here the after the death of the person, all his heirs inherits his property, which comes into their joint ownership as a natural consequence of death of the person. Which means that if the father of the family is dead or meninggal dunia, the asset will fall under the ownership of the waris in the faraid contract, which means it is musyarakah itself. Okay. Next, we have syirkah al-uqud, which means partnership by contract. In this particular syirkah al-uqud, it has three subtypes of syirkah al-uqud. First, we have syirkah al-amwal, which means partnership in capital, where all the partners invested some capital into a commercial enterprise. In this particular Syirkah Al-Amwal, the all the individual or the participant that participate in this particular Syirkah Al-Amwal will have their own money or capital to contribute to the startup of the Musharakah contract, which means there is no other thing than capital itself. Okay. Second, we have Syirkah Al-Amal, which means partnership in services, where all the partners jointly undertake to render some service for their customer, and the fee charged from them is distributed among them according to an agreed ratio. As for the example, if two people agree to undertake tailoring services for their customers on the condition that the wages so earned will go into the joint pool. In this particular types of Syirkah Al-Amal, it have uh, the both or more individual that participate in this particular musyarakah will have their services or their talents to be used as a capital uh, or an asset to start our musyarakah contract. It is very different with a capital syarikah al-amwal, partnership in capital, because in this particular syarikah al-amal, it will not have any money or any capital that were contributed in this type of syarikah. And for the third, we have syarikah al-wujuh, which means partnership in goodwill. Under the syarikah, there is no investment needed by the partner. They buy the commodities at deferred price by obtaining favorable credits terms due to their goodwills and selling goods on the spot. The profits so earned are allocated at the agreement made between them. So in this particular syirkah al-wujuh, we can get as for the example, um, Datuk Dr. Fazilah Kamsah. We use that for example. It is well known in our country, Malaysia, and under his name, there will be a company that want to make a musyarakah contract with him. So they use their name to get the good reputation or a wujuh to make themselves more respectable uh, and more goodwill or creativeness that will help them to buy a product at different payment and just sell them on the spot, and the profit between them will be separate on a agreed ratio. So what is the commonly use of musyarakah contract? Yes, it is the musyarakah mutanakisah. Musyarakah mutanakisah arrangement among two partners whereby one party slowly purchase all part of the land. The deals end with the ownership of a contract after which the two partners purchase and transfer the asset. So as for the example, Ahmad want to buy a house, but he doesn't have enough capital or money to buy a house. So he go to the bank and ask bank to give him a loan, and the bank give out the musyarakah mutanakisah, which is a agreement ratio that will be buy out by two parties to buy an asset. The banks will have the 90% of the asset, and then Ahmad will have another 10% of the asset. So it will be paid by Ahmad deferredly for equivalent of 30 years or 35 years to transfer the full ownership of the house under his name.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ariza Fran bin Hayruddin. Now I want to present about modus operandi of Musyarakah Mutanakisah house financing. Okay, as we can see at the slide, the diagram shows that for the first step, for the first step in apply Musharakah Mutanakisah house financing is the customer must first identifies the property and normally pays 20% of the selling price with 80% being financed by the bank. The customer and the bank will therefore own 20% and 80% of the property. Okay, kat sini first step untuk apply Musyarakah Mutanakisah, pelanggan kena kenal pasti dulu hak tanah, dan biasanya pelanggan akan bayar 20% daripada harga jualan dan 80% bank akan biaya. Oleh itu pelanggan akan memiliki 20% dan bank akan memiliki 80% daripada harta tanah tersebut. Okay, now for the next step is the customer then lease or use the property. Okay, pelanggan akan menyewa ataupun menggunakan harta tanah tersebut. Then the third step is to compensate the bank. The customer must pay rent for the use of the bank share of the property. Kat sini pelanggan dia kena bayar sewa untuk penggunaan bahagian harta tanah yang bank biaya tadi. Okay. The next step is the bank share of the property is divided into 20 units of 4% each. Assuming the tenure is for 20 years. The customer promise to buy 1 unit each year for the next 20 years in the form of rental payment. Okay. Part ni bahagian step yang keempat, iaitu bahagian harta tanah bank akan dibahagikan kepada 20 unit masing-masing, iaitu 4% dengan andaian jangka masa dibayar selama 20 tahun. Pelanggan berjanji akan membeli 1 unit setiap tahun selama 20 tahun ke depan dalam bentuk sewa, pembayaran sewa. Okay, for the last step, transfer ownership of asset. Once the units have been fully owned by the customer, the property will be the customer's and the bank will have the profits. Untuk step yang kelima, pemindah milik berlaku. Transfer of the ownership will be happen. Okay. Unit rumah tersebut, harta tanah tersebut akan dimiliki sepenuhnya oleh pelanggan. Jadi hak pelanggan tersebut, dan bank dah tak ada apa-apa kat situ. Bank hanya dapat untung daripada kontrak Musyarakah Mutanakisah home financing. Now we go to the next slide, which is application of Musyarakah Mutanakisah in public Islamic bank. Public Islamic bank offers a wide range of products using Sharia compliant contracts. One of the product is public bank home equity financing Islamic, which is housing financing plan based on the Sharia concept of Musyarakah Mutanakisah or diminishing partnership. For the interest rate is variable, tied to Islamic base rate IBR. This is from 3% to 2.75% before the COVID-19 outbreak. On 3 March 2020, Public Bank and Public Islamic Bank reduced its base rate by 0.25% to 5%. Public banks base rate reduction is timely to ease the borrower's burden and to spur the nation's economic growth amid the ongoing economic challenges brought about by the COVID-19 outbreak. Home equity financing Islamic by Public Islamic Bank offers among the best refinance rates with tenures up to 35 years. This can help customers save a lot of money for pursuing their dream goals, house renovation, or even funding for children education. There are two packages in home equity financing First, full flexible and semi-flexible. Depending on customers' circumstance and income, they can choose between a full flexible and semi-flexible package. Both of the semi-flexi and full flexi versions allow them to reduce their loan principal with any additional cash that they deposit. What's more, customer can withdraw any extra cash paid. Now we go to the first package. For the first package of the home equity financing is the full flexi version. Links customers' home loan account to a current banking account, so they only pay interest on the sum of their outstanding loan principal minus the balance of the current account. This can save a lot of their money if they keep the current account in a good credit. Naturally, they can withdraw funds whenever they wish. There are no limits and no fees for doing so. The customer will be charged RM10 each month for the current account and a one-time setup fee of RM200. Okay, maksudnya dekat sini untuk package yang pertama iaitu versi full flexi yang menghubungkan akaun pinjaman rumah pelanggan dengan akaun perbankan semasa. So mereka hanya bayar faedah dari rumah pokok pinjaman tertunggak mereka yang dikurangi baki akaun semasa. Ini dapat jimatkan banyak wang mereka kalau jika mereka menyimpan akaun semasa dengan baik. Mereka juga boleh keluarkan dana bila-bila masa yang mereka mahu, tak ada had dan tak ada bayaran untuk nak keluarkan dana. Pelanggan akan dikenakan bayaran RM10 setiap bulan untuk akaun semasa dan yuran penyediaan sekaligus iaitu sebanyak RM200. Now for the second package, which is the semi-flexible version, the principle is exactly the same. Only the method of the banking is different. The customer may only withdraw funds only a month. They need to make an application at the bank to do so, and they will be charged RM50 fee for each withdrawal. This is a good incentive not to withdraw funds too often. Untuk second package pula iaitu versi semi flexible, dia sama je macam full flexible tadi, cuma cara perbankan dia yang lain. Dia pelanggan hanya boleh keluarkan dana sebulan sekali. Mereka perlu membuat permohonan sebelum sebelum keluarkan duit dulu, dan mereka akan dikenakan bayaran RM50 untuk setiap pengeluaran. Itu adalah insentif yang baik untuk tidak keluarkan dana terlalu kerap. In the Islamic banking system, which use Musharakah Mutanakisah products in financing housing and asset ownership. This Musharakah Mutanakisah product is the best product in the Islamic banking system as it benefits both parties. However, there are also some issues that arise in this product that have been applied by this Islamic banking system. For the first issue, it is about fines for scheduling new payments. The first issue of Musharakah Mutanakisah contract is the bank still impose a penalty fee to the customer when they reschedule their payments if they fail to follow the original payment schedule that has been done. The issue now arises is that the bank will charge fees for rescheduling the fees and the fines for not complying the previous agreement. In addition, the customers are required to reimburse payment charges in the administration of the new agreement document for rescheduling. For example, a customer will ask the bank to schedule a monthly payment that they need to explain to their ability. So the payment period will be longer and the contractual agreement will change. Thus, the customer has to bear the cost of providing a new contractual agreement between the bank and the customer for scheduling the new payment that the customer needs to pay for the financing they have made. This issue clearly shows they do not practice the principles of Musharakah Mutanakisah properly due to the profit or loss must be borne by the both parties. In addition, any cost charge in conducting the partnership is to be borne by all the partners together because they have agreed to do a partnership at the profit or loss and the capital contribution is made together. This can reduce the burden on the customer to cover the administrative costs that need to be explained separately. This is because in the end, the bank may also benefit from the partnership as the installments payment is in excess of the payment made by the bank when issuing the share capital. Okay, for the second issue, is about the payment of takaful home insurance. The second issue is concerns the payment of the takaful guarantee on the house. This guarantee should be borne by both parties as the ownership of the property is joint ownership and it is a joint liability. In this case, banks nowadays, according to the concept of Musharakah Mutanakisah, the bank provides only takaful services or advises the takaful company to the customer to secure the property. On the other hand, the bank does not jointly guarantee the property. In this partnership, they are responsible to bear the expenses of the protection of their property and not just burden to one partner only. The bank and customer need to keep together the security of property against any defects or damage that may incur while the partnership is still in effect. Therefore, the bank must also jointly uphold the cost of the guarantee, and in the end, when the property is owned by one party only, the bank may charge a service fee yakni ujrah to the client for being willing to jointly maintain the current security of the property.
For the conclusion, Musharakah is a cooperation arrangement between capital owners to pool resources and conduct business together in a partnership with a profit sharing ratio in accordance with the agreement, while losses are borne proportionally in accordance with the resources contributions. That's all from us. Thank you very much.